Oh, hello. Right. Make my face appear. Let's do that. Do that. Hello. Right. I'm BoredGamer. I hope you're doing well. If you'd like to ask a question during the stream, question in brackets. I want to talk about some stuff today. And answer your questions, whatever they may be. CitizenCon. It was pretty good. It was best CitizenCon we've had, in my opinion, by significant margin. Cloud Imperium showing a lot of stuff that I wanted them to show, which is things that will be in our hands either immediately, soon, or within the next year. And that was pretty much what they showed. Is Squadron 42 going to be in our hands in the next 12 months? It's possible, but we don't know. They announced Squadron 42 as feature complete, and then they had loads of new trailers, and they went, look how good it looks. And it was like, oh, it does look pretty good. And there's lots of cool tech they've added. Huntress, thank you very much. Where was Tony C? Where were the mission team? There's lots of other stuff like that, right? So, those are good questions. I am expecting some Dynamic Universe Sim stuff to be talked about. I do think that getting it working in the way they want can't come until after at least static server meshing. But dynamic server meshing is obviously a big thing, and how long is that going to be? And Squadron 42 when? Could be at the end of next year. We just don't know. They did say polishing phase. Bam. Awesome. That's where they are at the moment. And they'll release it when they're ready. But they are now showing stuff. I would expect Squadron 42 development information and their Squadron 42 shows and sort of a marketing campaign to start for Squadron 42, in my opinion. It's a little annoying they didn't have a sort of set release date for it. That's what I was hoping. That's what I was kind of expecting. But that's not what we got. We did get a feature complete announcement. So it is happening. It is there. There was so much cool stuff from CitizenCon. Pyro, or the Pyro Playground build, which, I mean, some genius. I was going to blow my own trumpet, like, look how good I was at some of these predictions, because a load of them came true pretty accurately. I've been so wrong by so many things, especially dates, that I can't really blow my own trumpet when, if I say enough stuff, a lot of it will eventually stick at some point. So, Pyro Playground. So, from the 31st of October, some people are going to get access to that. CIG, not doing the access in the best way, not marketing in the best way. They are marketing in the best way for money, but not for necessarily community involvement. And that's we're going to pull the polls for the people that are going to be able to play the Pyro Playground, the Pyro build of the game. We're going to pull that from Concierge. Assumedly subs, but they didn't say subs, unless I misheard. But they did say Concierge. They said most active testers. And a lottery of people that bought the very expensive digital goodies pack. Assumedly, everyone that attended CitizenCon as well, because they get that digital goodies pack for free, will also get put in that area. Or maybe they just get access, right? Obviously, CIG do want to compartmentalize. They want to control the amount of people that are playing on certain builds for testing. It's going to be on the preview build, so it's a parallel build to the live build. Obviously, it's a bit different because it's got Pyro in it. Wait, so I have to pay more to get into Pyro? No, you do not. You could, obviously, if you're an active tester, and some other people have immediate access to that, obviously one of the ways you get access is by being lotteried from the digital goodies pack. If you just wait a bit longer, and it won't be very long, you'll get access. Because they're doing it in the similar way to they do waves. But the initial first few days, it's going to be stress testing, it's going to be concurrency testing, and stuff like that. So you're probably not missing out a huge amount. There's going to be lots of bugs and problems with it. And then it will go out to more and more and more people. That is a necessary thing when you think about it. And you trying to pay to get earlier access is not going to do you any good. I am telling you that paying to get earlier access in this case for the Pyro Playground, although it sounds cool, will be a chore, almost certainly, than it will be a boon to you. Let other people fix those bugs and that want to do it, and then you'll get it pretty soon. So just sort of bear that in mind. Also, that digital goodies pack is incredibly expensive, and I'm still umming and ahhing about buying one. Normally, I'd buy it without question if it's like, even if it was up to $20, but I think it's like $35 or something. I can't even remember anymore. I'm grumpy about it. I can't even remember how much it is. Get your goodies. Let's have a look. So I pay in British pounds. I just clicked it. It didn't get. It's £33 for me, which is like $40. So I think that's pretty expensive. It's 35 USD without taxes or whatever. Okay. I think that's pretty expensive. I don't think they should ever be more than $20 personally, but that's by the by. That's my impersonal gripe. You get around it in your brains however you want. There you go. Redacted ship blushy, redacted ship guide. I'm assuming that they're both the Zeus Mark II. So some stuff that was unveiled during CitizenCon. The Zeus Mark II. Oh, 3 variants of that. There's actually 4. There's a racing variant that they didn't show for some reason. Don't know why it dropped off at the last minute. But it was on the website briefly and then disappeared. You got the ES, you've got the MR, and you've got the CL. So you've got a bounty hunting version, you've got a general use multi-role version, which is very tanky, and the bounty hunting version, very, very loads of systems. It's got an armory, it's got an EMP, it's got a quantum dampener, it's got cells, well, not cells, it's got cryopods, it's got an extra turret, and it's got a load going on with it. It does drop a shield. It's only got 3 size 2 shields, which is still hugely tanky. And then you've got the Clipper, which has got 128 SCU cargo space. Huge amount of cargo. I think the Bounty Hunter version has only got 16 SCU. But the ES got 4 size 2 shields. It's got a load of chonk to it. And they've got the Cutter Scout, which is just a better version of the Cutter with 2 less SCU. Same price as well, I think. But yes. So some cool ships announced. There was some pictures and interesting ships that they're going to be coming out within the next 12 months. There's a load. I think there's 13 ships coming out by the end of the year as well. So I think that was quite interesting. In the background, you are seeing the Star Citizen engine demo. So basically, they went, what does Star Citizen look like if we show it to players in the current dev stream? We stabilize the dev stream. How cool is it? What does cool? How cool it does look? Obviously not exactly the same branch that we're currently playing, because putting this stuff in would cause a huge amount of instability if they weren't doing it in a closed environment. So bear that in mind. But yeah, Squadron 42, feature complete. Great. The Star engine, which is now TM'd, it's trademarked, which is a good indicator that they're in it for the long haul and that they might license out that engine. Really, really interesting stuff, actually. And we'll talk about that sort of in a bit more detail in the future. I need to dig into exactly what TMing their engine might mean. It's absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful looking. It's good to see that they are going, look, this engine is not going to be dated for what it needs to be. It needs to be this beautiful looking MMO. Are other engines going to be able to do this? Like Unreal 5 is going to be able to make stuff look more realistic in a smaller area. Yes, and other engines are going to come along while Star Citizen is probably still in development. But doing it the scale at what Star Citizen wants to do, and it's still going to be beautiful. And potentially, when it's released, hopefully, it'll be the most... I mean, there's going to be other engines that do stuff better, full stop, right? I mean, Unreal 5 does lighting and stuff so amazingly well and so easily now, and makes like vegetation look great. It's an interesting one. I still think Star Citizen is going to look beautiful for many, many, many years to come, because it's getting to that point where it is pretty realistic. And the other thing is they showed off a load of their DNA system. They showed off a load of character faces and blood, sweat, and tears, and they have updated the characters in Squadron 42 with this sort of overhaul with cloth and character updates and stuff, and they look superb. The range of emotion is fantastic, right? It's a proper sort of space opera now. Yeah, I absolutely loved some of the stuff they showed. They showed base building. They showed a ton of stuff, and we'll talk about that and answer some questions as we sort of go through. Let's have a look at some questions first. Thank you so much for that sub, by the way, Huntress. That's genuinely appreciated. And Paul Moore, what's going on with the Misk Endeavour? Okay, They did not talk about the Misk Endeavour. We have no new information on the Misk Endeavour. Some of the things that the base buildings will be able to do are likely to be science related. Science as a sort of in-game thing, and the Endeavour are likely going to be much later in the project. I do think the Endeavour is going to be one of the last ships that is done, in my opinion. With new atmospheric flight, how will ships like the Cat fly? Very poorly. I say very poorly. Their thrusters will get overheated quite quickly, but it's got lots of powerful thrusters. It's gonna be flying a lot harder. It's gonna not want to fly in atmosphere very much, especially when laden. And if it's laden and damaged, then you might need to use SRVs and tractor beams to help get it out of orbit, or get rid of some of your cargo. How tired am I after this weekend? So I had to go to bed pretty much straight after, like half an hour after CitizenCon Day 1 and CitizenCon Day 2, because I was shattered. Or I say shattered, I was very tired. But I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning, so I was raring to go. I get, when I have to concentrate for long periods of time, I get very tired. But if I'm just sort of talking off the top of my head and recounting stuff, I'm sort of okay. Zin is obliterated. She's trying to work now. We were supposed to record a podcast in the morning, but she was like, I'm tired. I was like, no worries. And we'll record it after I stream. I was not there in person. I had some correspondence there for me. So I've got some videos from that. And they some of the people that went there said it was the defining moment of their life. Best thing they've ever done. It's sort of like a religious experience, someone described it as. So I think that's pretty cool. I think people really enjoyed that. So server meshing, static server meshing. They showed a quick demo of server meshing working. It was a closed environment. It was very small scale, but it's something that's working. Apparently it made Chris cry. Apparently it made Salty Mike cry. Look at how cool this engine looks, though, when, like, genuinely great looking. And it's only going to get better and better and better, right? Obviously, very much a tech demo, what we're seeing here, but it's a soon-to-be-in-our-hands tech demo, right? Or at least lots of these features are coming into our hands in the not-too-distant future. Hi, do you know about the Carrack cockpit armor? Moreover, about ship roles and crew management. So, obviously, ship roles, engineering, and permissions are going to be a thing. So, the way that Clan Imperium last talked about it is there will be a permission system for your ships that you will individually be able to go, you have access to these doors and these terminals with your credentials, so you can use those things, and that basically helps define your role. So you can only go into the engineering section and your the corridors that link to your crew quarters, or you might have access to just a turret. Or you might have access to the whole ship if you're an engineer, or most of the ship, other than the captain's quarters or something if you're an engineer. So that's basically how you do crew management. There is going to be NPC crew in the future. This guy is having a stroke. They need to work on the trickling of blood a little bit more for sure. Yeah, the new hair and the new DNA system stuff's awesome. Hello. I'm glad that lots of people enjoyed this. They are giving the cockpit blast shields to some newer ship designers as their training project. Yes, so they are supposed to be putting the cockpit armor and the retractable cockpit armor stuff on the Carrack at some point. Beards are a thing. I've been looking forward to beards for ages. As soon as I heard there was a character ban, I was like, they're going to be announcing beards. That is in. So I was like, do you want a beard, Sin? And she went, you know what? I'd love one. She didn't say that. Not having a beard. She doesn't want a beard. All right, what we got here? Was that a new capital ship in the Squadron 42 cinematic? I don't think there was anything new there, capital ship-wise. Obviously, there was a boat. I will analyze them at some point in a bit more detail. I think it would be wise to temper our expectations for Squadron 42's release anytime soon, though. I mean, yeah, at the earliest, at the end of 12 months, right? At the earliest. Paul Moore, thank you very much for using that join button underneath my stream or videos. You become a BoredGamer member. That's very much appreciated. If you want to further support the channel, they can do that with direct donation. They can do that via, just generally commenting, subscribing, all that sort of jazz. But also subscribing on Twitch or using the join button and becoming a YouTube member, channel member, like beautiful Paul Moore did. Thank you very much. Genuinely appreciate it, sir. Hey guys, I'm so amazed after CitizenCon, well, the day is... Days come everyone was waiting for. CIG showed us stuff which we did not expect. So it is, genuinely for me, the fact that they're going, look, some of this stuff's going to be in your hands immediately, some of it's going to be in your hands with 3.22, and some of it's going to be in your hands within a year. Awesome. I love the fact that they're testing Pyro. That's great. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I love the fact they showed that server meshing was working. They showed base building. They showed that beautiful Start Engine demo and just look at all the cool stuff. They showed animals. They showed Star Wars and space cows. But I mean, there was loads of cool stuff with the ship breakability and the new points of interest. There's tons of new points of interest. Engineering gameplay. They're going to be using engineering. Going to be showing engineering gameplay off in a experimental build soon, assumedly with 3.22. But not 100% sure of that. I think the Polaris is going to be in our hands within the next 12 months. Again, probably at the end of that. Yeah, it was a pretty cool showing. And even stuff with the... Look at the freight elevators. This is how they work. You don't need to have vehicle and ship spawning because you can call them up in the elevators and then put them in your ships. Yeah, the Maelstrom system's pretty cool. True that. Baz, thank you very much. I appreciate the cheer. I like bits. I like money. And that's what basically that translates to. Do you think we'll get the same UI in Star Citizen as we saw in Squadron 42? Very similar. So some stuff is going to be based on your equipment. Some stuff is going to be based on your Mobiglass. And there is a difference between the military Mobiglass and the a more smartphone-y civilian Mobiglass, although you'll probably be able to get a military Mobiglass in Star Citizen. So very similar. All of the sort of main features and all that sort of jazz, yes. Yeah, I love the just being able to swap stuff in inventory and quick swap and things like that. We see the new, as we talked about, what's going on with the Misk Endeavour. Again, as I said, it's probably going to be the one of the last ships they do, in my opinion. Do you know when the Zeus Q&A will be? In about a week. So probably sometime next week. One of the reasons that they might not have had Tony Z at this one is that they might not be focusing so much on the dynamic universe simulation stuff in a deployable way yet. It might be like, it's 18 months away. Do you know what I mean? For first implementations. Or maybe they're going, look, we're getting bounty hunting in, but we don't know exactly when. There's going to be other stuff that is coming in the next 12 months that they certainly didn't show on... at CitizenCon. I mean, we saw restraints and stuff. We know they're making little hoverpods. Baba Yaga, thank you very much for the donation. Genuinely appreciated. Yes, so it's one of the things. It's a shame that they didn't have a release date for Squadron, but feature complete and showing a lot of it off. Show, don't tell sort of thing. Great. But yeah, no, you're right. I was hoping for a Squadron 42 release date. I do think that that's going to have some people disappointed, but I do think that at least they still gave a reasonable showing, right, with the Squadron 42 stuff. I mean, a lot of the other CitizenCon stuff was fantastic as well, like genuinely best CitizenCon ever by some margin, and some really cool stuff shown. But no, you're right. I wish they had shown a release date for sure. I hope you had a great time, though. I think they were umming and ahhing about giving a release date. That's genuinely my thoughts on that. How do you think VTOL mode on certain ships will play into the new atmospheric flight system? So, okay, you're going to be flying like a plane now, and the wind and all that sort of stuff. You're gliding, and your control surfaces and flaps and stuff, they're going to help you glide. If you want to stop and stand still, planes can't do that unless they have VTOL. So, but most of the ships in game are going to have VTOL to some degree, unless they've been severely shot at, and they'll just overheat. The thrusters will overheat, and they'll start to misfire, and they'll start to do weird things. So sort of just bear that in mind. You'll be able to stop. You'll be able to stop in a caterpillar, but how long and how sort of will you eventually crash or go out of control? Well, possibly. The ship might catch on fire eventually if you're just hovering there with your thrusters overheating, right? Tony Z is real, I think. What are your thoughts on the ships they showed coming in the next year? So they showed the Polaris, fantastic, great to hear, great to see that. The X1, did they show the Ranger? No, the X1, the Retaliator. I said Redeemer in my video. I didn't mean that. I meant Retaliator, and a load of cool stuff there. There was like another Argo sort of debris. Not SRV. Like the cargo Argo, whatever. I think there's going to be one for tractor beam or for just picking up cargo boxes. That's what it looked like. And there was a load of other cool stuff there as well. A lot of it that I was like, I don't know what this is. But I'm glad that I know there's a load of, I think there's like 13 ships. A lot of that's going to be variants of ships coming by the end of this year. And then a load more stuff coming by the end of next year. How much of the stuff from CitizenCon do you think they will implement in the next 12 months? A lot of it. Do I think they'll get all of it? No. Do I think they'll get most of it? Yes. Do you think any game will be released from CIG in the next 3 to 4 years? I mean, Squadron 42 almost certainly will be released within the next 2. I'm hoping that's released by the end of next year. But yes, definitely within 3 to 4 years. I don't think Star Citizen will be done in the next 3 to 4 years, though. When you compared the Zeus to the C1, I think it's closer to the Microstar Runner or the 400i. Yeah, I mean, it's reasonably big. I'd say it's closer to Microstar Runner or Constellation 400i, yeah. What do you think the big ship silhouette they showed is? It looks like the Fury. Don't know. Didn't know for sure. I will be looking through everything again and trying to pick out some sneaky things. So they gave some timelines for stuff saying it's going to be soon or it's going to be in 2022. Well, by the end of Q4 2023 for some stuff that they showed. Other stuff is said within 12 months is the plan. So, UI updates, I don't think they said by the end of this year. One of the other things was the star map, minimap, star map, mapping, and the star map looks fantastic. Something that I hoped we should have had in game immediately upon getting 3.0, which was many moons ago. But at least they've got a good system for it now, and I'm not going to complain too much about it. It's just the current star map is hellish. Like, it's so fiddly and so awkward and so buggy. Is there anything on the new cargo system? So there's a load of new cargo coming, so different cargo crates and various types of volatile cargo and stuff. You'll be able to notice some of these at a glance. The freight elevators are coming, which will allow you to spawn vehicles as well, of persistent hangars. That's the sort of main cargo updates, and obviously the inventory boxes as well. Did anyone else notice that the rusty rear end of a long ship with 4 big engines looked a bit like the reconcept of the Pegasus carrier? I did not, but I will have a look at this stuff again. You're very bouncy, bud. You okay? Up from 6, had about 6 cups of coffee, and I sort of shake anyway when I'm talking or nervous. I'm not necessarily nervous, but obviously I'm sort of high on caffeine. When Todd Pappy said you'll be able to fabricate HAB decorations to even ships, do you think it's shipbuilding of ships that exists or in-game or using assets for our own? Oh, so you're thinking being able to freeform build ships, like almost like in Starfield or whatever. It'll be ships that already exist, almost certainly. Maybe in the far-flung future, they'll go, you can modularly build ships entirely, but I do have a face, that is confirmed. Does anyone else feel a bit guilty that there was no black hair in game until I got pointed out? There is a wide variety of hairs now. I'm assuming you mean African American hair or something. I don't know, or dark hair. I don't know what you meant by that, but there is now a huge range of styles. And was everything shown at CitizenCon supposedly 12 months from being implemented? That is the plan for pretty much all of it. Probably not the Bounty Merchantman, but they sort of said that. And I think it was features for Star Citizen, so potentially not Squadron 42, though I'm still hoping Squadron 42 is included within that. Do you think the destructibility of things will be reset in some form? The destructibility, interesting. So obviously they've got that breakability system and terrain and buildings and ships can be damaged. I think stuff can be repaired. When it comes down to old, abandoned and partially destroyed structures already, will they be repaired? And how our mission and other locations spawned in. That's it. It's an interesting one. I don't think that it matters too much. But I do think they will probably have persistence on it. If you've got a hugely destroyed sort of settlement that is not being used, will permanently have that damage applied to it. Maybe eventually they'll change in a patch, change that settlement to be habitable again, or something like that. Yeah, so I do think they kind of knocked it out of the park with CitizenCon this time. They showed a load of cool stuff. They started with that engine demo, but it wasn't the be-all and end-all of CitizenCon. It wasn't sort of like the only thing they showed. There was so much really good stuff. Blueprints and crafting, yeah. You need blueprints for base building, and you can base build from small structures, basically by hand with survey tools, all the way up to using the Pioneer to build extra large structures. And then they also said things like the Galaxy would be able to build large structures, so you obviously be able to outfit the Galaxy with a building module. What would you like to have seen and they didn't show? Dynamic universe simulation stuff, basically Tony Z. Release date for Squadron 42. A redo of the Squadron 42 vertical slice. Redo of the Sandworm and Lear 3. So I like the idea of them going, and look at this now, but obviously they wanted to show new stuff. Bounty hunting was the other thing. I wanted to see big bounty hunting updates. Yeah, a lot of people are now going to be going like, oh, Star Citizen looks really good, but when is it going to actually release? And that's a fair question, because it's going to be a long while before it's actually consumer ready, before a version 1 is released. Obviously, Squadron 42 significantly sooner. And I think that's going to be genuinely when Star Citizen gets mainstream appeal that can't be denied. It stops being like a meme and more like Oh. UI map changes in 3.22. So expect some bits to be in 3.22 for UI. I don't think there's going to be the map changes in 3.22. I think that is a bit further out, unfortunately. But we saw the working prototype. Anyone know a way to fix losing control suddenly? Do you have a gamepad plugged in, or another sort of joystick or something else that you're not using but is plugged in? Another controller of some description. What happens when that gentle German boy who meshes our servers from his personal computer needs to sleep? He'll be 30k until he wakes up. Well, it's an interesting one. We don't know how going to bed on someone's ship or whatever works, right? So when you log back in, if they're not logged in, you've got to be somewhere. And does that log their ship in? And does that mean you're the only person on that ship? And is it all permission based then? So what if you get attacked while you're on it? You logged on quick, and that ship gets attacked. There are interesting questions there, which we don't know the answers for yet. When is the SRV coming out, do you think? It's coming out as part of 321.x, so within the next few weeks. Probably for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, right? What I hope never happens is older ships, popular ships like the Carrack, don't get left behind in regards to tech compared to other new ships. They shouldn't. They genuinely shouldn't. They should be brought up to gold standard and then kept at a state that is appropriate. What else have we got? Who's being naughty? Some people are being naughty. Please do not be naughty in my chat, otherwise I will have to time you out. Or even ban you, and I hate doing that. I like the free flow of information and people being able to question and talk to each other. So regulate yourselves and don't try and win arguments. I really, really enjoyed CitizenCon. I thought it was fantastic. Do we know when 4.0 comes out? Some point next year. It's when Pyro and server meshing, static server meshing are released. Obviously, we've got the Pyro Playground, which is going to be available to at least some on the 31st of this month, which is awesome. But we don't have a date on 4.0. We do know that there is a 3.22 patch planned for the end of this year. Thanks for the coverage, BG. I appreciate it. But for my question, how much do you expect the Galaxy to increase? I have a CCU but didn't buy any modules, which I regret now. Haha. It'll go up a bit. Obviously, there'll be the base building version, which I think people will like. I don't know how much it'll go up by, though. Expect a reasonable amount. I mean, you can get all this stuff in game. You don't need to. You're better to buy the modules in game. You don't need to spend any more money, buddy. I probably wouldn't. But it's up to you. Any news about the Polaris? Should be in our hands within the next 12 months. Been out of the loop for a while. What's the current situation of people who have 2 or more starter packs, potential NPC companions? We don't know. We don't have. There is no latest on multiple game packages and what that will do for you. Any speculation of the giant thrusters we saw at the end of the Squadron 42 trailer? Some people think it's the Pegasus. Do you think this means they won't hold features for the PTU from Squadron back anymore, even if it's not released? So yes, there's not much gated by Squadron 42. And I say not much because they said the Idris and the new Vandal ships, they're gated effectively by Squadron 42. They'll release them at the same time for players, and it will be the Idris P, the Idris K, the Idris M, all coming out at the same time with Squadron. But pretty much all the other features, they are not gated by Squadron. And no, not much news on NPC crew. We know that they'll have traits that you'll be able to somehow see that will then allow you to work out whether you want them on your crew, on your ship. So they sort of match your playstyle. And do you have an idea when multi-crew ships want to call it a day, and the next day only one of the crew logs in? We don't know how that's going to work. We don't know how the bed logging, one person logging back in that doesn't have permissions over the ship logs back in. The ship, does it respawn? What's going on? Do you prefer it when they focus development on implementing new features as they kind of have this CitizenCon, or do you prioritize ships or fixing current features? I want them to plow ahead with new features and get the game done and then polish it and fix it for the most part. I do enjoy playing a polished alpha now, but I would prefer them to get as much done as they can, and then when they're closer to, or every so often when they're closer to completion, then polish. So everything that was shown at CitizenCon, other than the Banu Merchantman, and we don't know about Squadron 42, is potentially going to be within the game in the next 12 months. The plan is for it to be in the game within the next 12 months. That's what their target and their goal is. Are you surprised that we didn't hear any updates on Quanta? Yes, 100%. But that doesn't mean there hasn't been a lot. It just lots of other stuff to show, and I suspect we'll see more on that later next year. I mean, it's going to be used for the bounty hunting system, I believe, and they are actively pushing bounty hunting, so... did they explain how jump points work? Not really, but they did explain how the new quantum worked. So the new quantum experience is when you're accelerating, so when you start quantuming, you actually have to keep your ship within the quantum corridor, which you can fall out of if you're not careful. Once you get up to you're fully accelerated, you can go hands off and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Favorite part of CitizenCon? I liked base building. I liked the Squadron 42 announcement. I liked the engine demo. It's all pretty good. What's your speculation on what manufacturer will make the large mining ship? It's RSI. You know it's RSI, right? I really want to know more about the cargo rework, but I don't know what panel I need to watch to learn more about. So there wasn't a huge amount on cargo. The one you want to watch, do I actually have the names of the panel? Do I have the names of any of the panels here? Destination Adventure had stuff about cargo hauling missions, cargo haulers guilds, and all that sort of stuff, and the new cargo and the freight elevators. So that's the one you'll want to watch. I love the fact I've got notes. Perfect. Do you think we'll have a new pledge sell for land claims? Hopefully never again. It's a stupid idea to sell land claims. It should be relatively inexpensive in-game as well. It's going to be the taxes and that sort of stuff, the maintenance, that are going to be expensive in my opinion. Drones and modules, did they say anything? Modules, they talked about very briefly. Nothing about drones. I don't think it was anything about drones. But very little. What do you think of the Zeus Bounty Hunter variant? I think it's got a load of features and a load of cool stuff on it. And they jam-packed that with utility and weapons and stuff. Absolutely fantastic ship, I think. When do you think they'll release the C1? Obviously, the A1's in game. I think with Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the end of November, you will see the C1. From wipe to wipe, is there a category of things your account retains? Info Runners, Vindication Brother, just wants to let you know that the trailer has hit IGN and the normies now know. Let's see how they respond. Comments are good so far. Awesome to hear. Well, Vindication is not... Star Citizen should speak for itself. It's not our jobs to sort of defend it in any way, right? It should be able to defend itself. CRG can defend it if they want. I'll play it and allow people to think what they want. People want to shit on it. Cool. They're not shitting on what I love. Well, they're having a shit on what I enjoy, and that's fine. They can do that. But I do think eventually, once like Squadron 42 is released, you can go, look, I mean, it becomes undeniable that the game's pretty cool. But I don't cover Star Citizen to feel good about myself or Vindication or anything. I cover it because I'm interested in it, and even if it fails and explodes, I'll still cover it and talk about it. I do love CIG and the game. I enjoy playing it. I love my community. You guys are genuinely amazing. And I think that a genuinely huge portion of you are pretty level-headed and sort of reasonable, and lots of people have very different opinions and are able to discuss them and share them in a pretty chill way. I think that you give people the time of the day, and hopefully you give that to each other as well. Don't know where I really went off on a tangent, but Infrarunners, I think you do a great job as well. Hope you're doing well. Executor, assume it's you that's talking to me, and genuinely thank you for the money. And yeah, I'm glad with what we saw, and it makes me happy and make me feel like I haven't wasted my life covering this game for the last 10 years. But it's been 9 years now. Not even a decade yet of my coverage. But yeah, I'm glad to... hope you're doing well, sir. Thank you. Will we have the new UI and mobiGlas in 4.0? Potentially. Within the next year. That's the plan. From wipe to wipe, is there a category of things that your account retains? Yes. So, there can be full wipes, which pretty much gets rid of everything. Typically, you'll retain ships on your account, Alpha UEC. That's the sort of main things you retain, pretty much. Things have to have a record made of them to be retained as well. So taking them out after you buy them, sort of spawning them in the verse, and then putting them back in storage will make a record of them. Ammo and things like that, they're not retained. Refinery orders aren't retained. Rentals aren't retained. They do have it's on their support site. It does go through it all. Do you think the newest update will be accompanied by a wipe? 3.22? I don't think it will need a wipe. How do you get a chance to try Pyro? So, on the 31st, they're going to be enabling access for some people to try Pyro. Expect it to follow similar PTU sort of style of waves. It's going to be on their preview build, which sort of mirrors the live build, but adds some extra stuff and goes bam. And I think they're also going to be trying out the replication layer at the same time. But you've got Pyro Playground. If you have a chance to get in for the first wave, the initial wave, if you're concierge, probably if you're a subscriber, if you're an active tester, and if you've bought the digital goodies pack, you have a chance to. They're sort of lottering like the digital goodies pack stuff. Don't worry about not getting immediate access. You'll get access pretty soon afterwards. The first few days are going to be stress testing. You're not missing out anything. It's going to be buggy. Yeah, because basically you're doing the work of Eva Carty. How much do you think of the past 2 days will be sooner than 6 months? I don't know. It's sort of hard to tell. Obviously, a reasonable portion of it's going to be in by the end of this year, like a load of new ships, and some of those features, though, it's going to be by Q4, or it's going to be very soon, or it's going to be in an experimental build. Maybe we'll get experimental engineering build, or engineering for the experimental gameplay stuff for Arena Commander by the end of the year. Things like that. Is the... Oh. Don't you pause my music like that. How dare you? Is the Zeus MR, EMP, and Quantum debris not usable from the pilot seat? Oh! I would expect it to be used from Copilot. Or its own station. Yes, that's a good point. Almost certainly from a Copilot. I do not like this. Don't like that song. What else have we got here? I do not believe... So the Pyro Playground test that's going out to multiple people, to a wider audience, as it were, from the 31st, almost certainly won't be NDA'd. Almost certainly, because it's going to be too hard to NDA that many people, right? Bored being an actual potato and is used to being underground needs your help seeing your highly intelligent questions. Question in brackets. That is true. Your thoughts on the spectrum response on the size of the Zeus components being almost new standard, or at least an indication of loadout changes for other ships? There is going to be giant balance pass. They're doing physical components for all ships. Expect there to be a huge amount of change coming up for that. But ships to retain their place in the pantheon of ships where they are. And they want longer times to kill for a lot of stuff. And the ability to take out turrets and subcomponents more so than blow up ships. It's going to be so... You might be in a ship that might not really be able to penetrate the hull of another ship very well. So you might go, well, we can take out a turret or two and make it retreat. Make it a battle of attrition. They didn't mention it in the Maelstrom presentation, I'm assuming you're saying, but do you think they are sticking to the plan of weapon and ship size negating damage if they're too far apart, like size 2 weapons hitting the Idris? I think there's going to be armor and mitigation there, for sure. I'm not sure how that stuff will work. Like, is small arms fire just going to be completely ignored, or is it going to be able to do potential damage? That's a good question. I don't know how it's going to be handled anymore. Now, other than the Squadron 42 Soon TM and Day 1 opening melody cinematic, what's your favourite thing shown the weekend? I mean, server meshing working, even in a sort of enclosed environment, pretty cool. Obviously, base building, absolutely amazing. I'm very excited to actually see that in-game. There was some cool sort of new points of interest, and those settlements, distribution centres and stuff like that. Really want to see the freight elevators. Engineering, it didn't look great at the moment, but will be refined over time. The gameplay is there. It's starting to be there, and I'm looking forward to playing that. Probably Star Map. That's probably the thing that had me most excited, and we need this. Star Map. And I'm very much looking forward to the Pyro Playground. Hope that I have access, because I haven't bought a digital goodies pack. Did they explain what happens if one server crashes and you walk into the shard while it's crashed? That's a good question. Assumedly, you would still be able to move into it. And it would update once the server relaunches. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, eventually, servers will have redundancy, and the replication, I assume they can take over while they spin back up or whatever. Did the Pyro Playground include a jump point? I do not believe it includes jump points. I believe you spawn in Pyro in one of the rundown stations, in Checkmate Station, I believe. We will do BoredGamer.org and channel stuff at some point. Probably do some later this week, some Gun Rush with people on Discord if people want to do some Gun Rush. Obviously, it's spooky, scary Gun Rush. Really enjoy Gun Rush, and potentially some Pyro stuff. What's your speculation on what manufacturer will make the RSI for the large mining ship? I think we just know it's RSI, right? With Pyro almost being ready, do you expect CIG to speed up their production of other systems? Yes. They've already started work and done a lot of work on Nyx, and they're doing work on things like Terra and I believe Magnus as well. Obviously, the Odin system is largely complete because it's used for Squadron 42, and there are various other systems that they've done some work on, or have a lot of other bits in, such as the Lear system, which is one of the demos they showed previously. Bear with me 1 second, I will bio, because I need to do a little wee-wee. Oh, long time no see, indeed. Hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you very much for all the comments. Appreciate it. So can the replication layer crash too? I don't actually know exactly how the replication layer is hosted, as it were. So assumedly, you can lose connection with it, right? That would be why you would 30k. If you lose connection with the replication layer, you would 30k. Does the engineering feature suggest that local map tech is close to finished? So all of that stuff that they showed, for the most part, potentially not Squadron 42 or the Banometriman, but pretty much the rest of it, they want to have in our hands within the next 12 months. That's what they said. While you were gone, Chris announced 50 new features, including haptic chair, faux leather simulation. Nice. I suppose that's why you'd want the Aurora LX, right? They didn't speak on character progression at all. If it's implemented in Squadron 42, how do you think they'll go about doing it? I'm not entirely sure. There might be ranks and medals and things like that, right? Squadron 42 is telling a story more than anything else. It's a interactive movie story with a load of cool combat and a spiritual successor to Wing Commander. So it's got this fantastic ship combat and now the ability to run around on moons and planets. I wonder how much of it's going to be you running around on foot FPS, right? Because obviously there's going to be a reasonable amount now because there's a lot of pre-mission stuff and post-mission stuff where you're going to be walking around on ship and you are your dude rather than your ship, even when you're flying it. We did see some systems beyond Pyro Nyx. because we saw some of the Squadron 42 stuff, right? How disturbing was it to see Pico involved in almost every act of chaos? I didn't like the Mrs. Zin thought it was very cute, the radioactive one. With Pyro almost being ready, as we talked about. Do you think players that get access to Pyro will be under NDA? I do not believe they will be. What did they mention they would add 2023? So, I haven't gone through and worked it all out yet. There's potentially the engineering experimental stuff, some of the new hair and faces. There was a reasonable amount. Settlements, the new settlements coming to Stanton. I'll have to go through it all again. I really liked the look of base building. Obviously, it was very much more tech demoed or represented there. It's good that they're thinking about it and they've got a proper plan for it. Goes into active production Q1 of next year, 2024. There will be an update for all weapons. So they talked about weapon balance and that sort of stuff, saying everything's a bit samey and all the components are all samey at the moment. There's been a huge amount of component and weapon balance in Squadron 42, which they will be bringing to the persistent universe. Presumably, again, within the next 12 months. Do you think they actually managed to make server meshing work? Because the demo they showed is a very small area. How does that work on the PC servers? It doesn't yet. So, well, maybe it does, but they had a active running prototype on a small scale, and that's what they showed. It's not more than that. It's not less than that. I thought they knocked it out of the park with CitizenCon. I wish they had showed bounty hunting. I wish they'd showed some sort of economy and dynamic universe sim stuff. I wish they'd had a Squadron 42 release date for sure. Other than that, I thought it was pretty sweet. Does the engineer... And we talked about that. I think we have answered most of the questions. Do you think we'll see Squadron 42 infantry combat directly ported to Star Citizen? A load of those features, yes. So pretty much all they showed for that stuff, those features from Squadron 42 are coming into Star Citizen, a lot of them within the next 12 months. I'm thinking of creating some sort of job board website where users can submit job requests, e.g. turret gunner, etc., and people can hire them, and some sort of rep system about it. I think it's a good idea. How much of this is actually just going to be done by CIG in game is another question, and how do you attract people to actually using your service, right? Rather than just being in an org. Combat Pandas. I don't know how to say your name. Combat Pandas. Now I know because I read it and then I knew how to say it. Thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated, sir. Do you think fire propagation will lead to a backlash in chronically solo part of the community? Okay, so it's only going to be a problem on large ships where you also don't want NPC crew. So you've got large ship you're just piloting by yourself with no NPC crew. Well, how are you going to do the maintenance, management, and damage control anyway? Like you need at least NPC crew for that sort of stuff. Maybe there will be fire suppression systems that you can purchase or whatever, or get them as AI blades or something. I mean, a lot of it you could just go, I'm just going to vent my... Okay, you're soloing a ship, yeah? Close the door to your cockpit, vent all the other rooms. And keep it like that until you need to move around the ship. Because then fires aren't going to start, right? Problem solved. Have the rest of the ship exposed to the vacuum of space. Turn off your life support everywhere else. Just have it done. Save power as well. I was really impressed with what Clan Imperium showed. I thought that the Squadron 42 stuff they showed was superb, especially with the updated characters. They really conveyed an emotional range, at least in my opinion. Right. I am going to jump out now because I'll send you over to someone else. Zin and I want to record a podcast talking about our best bits of CitizenCon. Bear with me 1 second, and we'll sort of wrap up. Find someone that is streaming. I suspect there's quite a few people talking about Star Citizen today, and that are very happy. And I do think it was a great time for the community. I'm going to send you over to Salty Mike, who cried like a little Baba girl, little Baba baby, Salty Mike cried over server meshing. That's what we're going to say. Me being very mean. I love the boy. Thank you very much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed CitizenCon. We've got loads of CitizenCon summaries and some of the panels and stuff up on my channel. Go check them out there. And tell me what you think of CitizenCon and the Squadron 42 stuff they showed. Was there anything that you missed and were sad about, or like you thought that Clan Imperium missed the ball on? And what did you love? Tell me on my channel, on my comments and stuff. You know, give me money as well. Subscribe. Do all that sort of jazz.